And you can see under the points of humility that I've listed there, that many mediums believe they are in a much, much better condition than their true condition from God's perspective. And they believe that because they can see spirits and talk to spirits, that they must have a far better condition than the average person around them. And many of them believe with that, and go forward even further with that belief, that if you try to correct their emotional condition, they get very upset and angry with you. Right? Now, if you are one of those persons, you are not going to enjoy our sessions coming up with mediumship. Does that make sense? Because the sessions are going to confront you on lots of levels. And in particular, they're going to confront you emotionally. A lot of the exercises we'll be doing in these mediumship sessions that are coming up will be based around developing your humility, developing your resistance, getting rid of your resistance to experiencing emotion, and getting rid of your resistance to hearing new truth, and getting rid of your resistance, which is called doubt, to hearing truths that are of much higher nature than the Earth's actually capable of receiving currently. We want to get groups of mediums in that condition where they can actually receive these higher truths. The only way that's going to happen is for your condition to get very, very close to a celestial spirit's condition. That's the only way it's going to happen. And so what we want to do is focus on helping that occur. And humility is one of the main qualities. Another quality is this quality of modesty. Does everyone understand the difference between modesty and humility? Anybody hazard a guess with that? Modesty is recognising your own limitations. It's a bit different than humility, because humility you will have and retain even when you have no limitations. In other words, when you become a celestial spirit here on earth yourself, you will have very few limitations, and you will still have humility. Modesty is understanding where you're currently at and what your limitations are of where you're currently at. Does that make sense? Whereas humility is something you will retain as a quality all of your life. Now, the quality of modesty is so important as a medium, because if you develop modesty, what you're doing is you're knowing that, hang on a sec, I've still got this emotion of anger in me with men. So anything that I channel for a man is going to be tainted with my emotion of anger towards men. And it's a modest point of view to see that. Does that make sense? So if I've got angry with men inside of me, and I'm attracting a spirit who has no anger with men at all, to talk to this person who happens to be a man, what's going to happen is their lovely message to this man will get modified through my anger with men and delivered to this man. And if I don't understand that limitation, I'm going to be drawn into saying that actually, no, this spirit said that to you, this spirit said that to you, you've got to listen to that now. You know? And I actually start dumping my men anger, my emotion that's unresolved within me, onto this man who I'm meant to be helping. Is that a loving... It's not a loving prospect, is it? Now let's flip it over. Let's say I'm actually doing some mediumship to help a spirit. And a lot of spirits are surrounding me, and there happens to be quite a few male spirits surrounding me. So they come along to talk to me. What are they going to feel from me if I've got this anger with men? My anger with men is going to be dumping on them. It's going to be quite unpleasant for them to stay in my company, even though I'm telling them divine truth. It's going to be quite unpleasant for them to stay in my company while I've got that emotion. Does that make sense? And so they'll want to maybe leave, or they'll only be able to stay a short time, or they'll listen to you and then realise, oh, hang on a sec, she's saying a lot of that thing and stuff because she's actually angry with men. Like, it's got nothing to do with truth. They don't want to hear your personal truth. They're sick to death of hearing personal truth. Can you understand that? If you've listened for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years for people's truth, all sorts of truth, like, you know, like if you imagine here on earth that you investigated 100 religions. Are you going to be very tempted to investigate the 101st if the person doing the investigation with you is angry with you? Of course not, right? Because you've already got all this emotion of just being tired of hearing this personal crap come from everybody. Does that make sense? And this is how a spirit would feel. So even if I'm helping the spirit, I need to have modesty. Just because it's helping a spirit, it does not mean you are better than them. And just because you can channel to a person who can't channel, it doesn't mean you're better than that person either. And if you believe you are, you've got a problem that needs to be resolved if you want to be at one with God. Does that make sense, dear? And so it's very important these two qualities are developed in the medium. Now the problem is, on the earth today, is mediums get glorified many times. Is that not the case? So imagine for the moment you have a problem with humility. You start channeling some really good information. Let's say you have progressed from the first sphere to the third sphere. Now you're starting to connect with some really good stuff, right? What's going to happen? People around you are going to be very impressed, are they not? And when they start getting impressed with you and you still have this problem with humility, what are you going to start doing? Can you see that you might start getting to feel like, yeah, I'm pretty good, eh? I'm pretty good. This is going good. I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah, I think I'll start charging now, actually, kind of thing. This is pretty good, right? But I'm in high demand, and, you know, it's not going to be donation-based anymore. I'm going to say $5,000 a pop now, you know. Do it, you know, one of these popular medium styles that are around today who are charging megabucks for their services, right? Now, what's happening is your condition is worsening, if that happens, right? Because you're getting into a haughty state. And when you get into a haughty state, there's no more humility. You're going to stop connecting with spirits who are willing to transmit that kind of information. Can you see how a quality that you might have had at the beginning with your mediumship might change when you start getting the glory that comes your way? So, one of the things you're going to have to work on quite a lot is how do you respond to glory? Do you want it? Because if you want it, you are going to have some major issues down the track dealing with your mediumship. Right? So it's a very important factor to bear in mind. So these two qualities are a must to develop. They are a must to develop. And they are the qualities that we are actually going to focus on more so than any other quality. They are the qualities we're going to focus on. We're going to push all of your buttons in those two areas if you are willing to, if you're wanting to do mediumship. And the reason why is you cannot help any person on earth or any person in the spirit world with a pure heart if you lack those qualities. Does that make sense to everyone? It's a really important factor. Really important factors, those two qualities. Less so much of a factor is your belief systems. But they are still very important. When I say it's less of a factor, if I have humility, then I'm willing to listen to a person confronting my belief. But if I don't have humility, then I won't let my beliefs be confronted. Can you see that? Now, many mediums have belief systems that come from sixth sphere or from natural love spirits. That's just a byproduct of the fact that there are far more spirits on the natural love path than there are on the divine love path. So there are going to be more spirits communicating those beliefs to Earth, and because those beliefs are lower beliefs in terms of the truths, they are the ones with the most rapport with people on Earth. Is that? You see that? Rapport, remember, is created by conditions, soul conditions. So if my soul condition is second sphere, I'm going to connect to second sphere soul conditioned spirits. And what truths do they have compared to a celestial spirit? They might have very little compared to a celestial spirit, right? So I will start transmitting truths that are actually not true if I stay in that condition. And if I'm not aware of their condition and aware of what beliefs are actually a part of that condition, then I will start transmitting belief systems to the Earth. And the Earth is full of false belief systems. And you know what? The spirit world is full of spirits in pain because of the false belief systems they picked up while they're on earth. So we want to not do that anymore. We don't want to transmit these false belief systems to earth. What we want is we want the truth to be transmitted to earth, which is going to mean that our belief systems, whatever they are going to be confronted. And if you're not willing to confront your belief systems, then you're going to find development on the divine love path very difficult. Because most belief systems are of the mind. They are of the intellect. You follow me? A desire for you to know is what creates a belief system. On the divine love path, you are going to lose your desire to know. Instead, what you are going to do is you are going to experience rather than know. And then you will really know in your heart, in your soul. That makes sense to everyone, doesn't it? Yeah. So any belief systems are of the mind. So therefore what's going to happen is your mind will get in the way of everything you do. Now when you're channeling, there are a couple of different types of channeling that I mentioned later. And when you're channeling, you might be doing trance channeling. The trance channeling is when the spirit form and the soul of the person steps back from the physical body, and the spirit actually connects and overcloaks the physical body. And the voice might even change, and everything might change. You know, the mannerisms will change of the person and everything, right? That's called a trance mediumship. Now, there is a common misconception on earth that when you're doing trance mediumship, you're the most accurate. But what have I said? All transmission is dependent upon soul condition. So why would your accuracy be different? You see, it's the soul condition that determines your accuracy, right? Not whether you're doing trance mediumship or not. Now, a lot of spirits enjoy trance mediumship because they don't have to wait for you to relay everything. In other words, let's say I'm a spirit, Brian's the medium, Ray is the person he's talking to. I say to Brian, "Hello Brian, it's lovely to see you." And then I've got to wait for Brian to say to Ray, he says, "Hello Ray, it's lovely to see you," or whatever, right? And then and now Ray, please look at your emotion about such and such. And Brian then has to say, well, he's saying, please look at your emotion, Ray, about such and such. Now, I'm waiting all this time, right? Now, it'll be far better if I could just overcloak Brian and just say all of these things straight to Ray. Does that make sense? Obviously, the communication is far more effective from my point of view because I can say all of these things quite rapidly rather than waiting for this transmission, acknowledgement, and then I've got to go again, and it's a stop and start process. So obviously transmediumship has its benefits for me as a spirit, so a lot of spirits love doing it. But don't you believe as a medium that it means you're more accurate, because the accuracy of the information is still dependent upon your soul condition. You follow me?